Welcome to session 4 of our easy Sanskrit learning. Sarvesham Swagatam. Put it. Pratame Vayam Sarve Gurubhyo Namamaha. What does it mean?
First of all,
First,
we all
Guru, something.
Guru pray.
Prayer.
We all
Prayer.
start with Guru prayer. So let's start with it as usual.
Click on the present slide.
Why it doesn't change?
Click on the slideshow first. Click on the presentation.
Okay.
Now you can use your control.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha
Gurubhyo Namaha.
Sadashiva Samarambam
Sadashiva Samarambam
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Asmat Acharya Paryantam
Asmat Acharya Paryantam
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Very good. We start with the gurus who have really shown us the guidance. And the first thing I want to do is review the exercises I gave in last session. Some of you have already submitted the answers, some of you haven't. But anyway, for the benefit of everybody, I want to review it. These are very simple sentences and you should know what is what. I have received several answers and I want to congratulate all those people who have really submitted the answers. First came from Srikanth. The second one came from Mr. Chandramouli from Chennai, and third came from Rajesh just about 10 minutes back.
Just in time inventory.
Kumari submitted it just 5 minutes back.
I'm also done with it.
Oh, you also have it.
But
Wonderful.
we both have the same answers. So.
All right. So I am going to tell you the answers, but before that I have a couple of comments on. Most of you have done very well, I should say. A couple of words which have been used which have to be really corrected out. One, the word Shishu which has been used in place of Balaha. Shishu really refers to a baby, not really a child. So some people have used Shishu. Then another person has used for eating, normally we say khadati or khadanti in plural. Somebody has used bachati. Now there is a distinct difference between the two. Khana is really eating. Bachanti refers to, bachati means devouring. Actually the word bachanam comes from bachyam. Bachyam means eatable. And we all love eatable, sweets particularly, we kind of devour it. So it's called bachanam. So there is a distinct difference between khadati and bachyati. So in this case, if child is eating something, we say khadati. Gentle eating. Biting is also called bachyati. Simmaha mamsaha bachyati. Okay, having said that, I am going to go through the answers here. Ayam Eka Deepaha. I think most of you have done it correctly. This is a lamp. Instead of saying this is one lamp, you say this is a lamp. You don't say this is one lamp, this is a lamp. Correct? Iyam Eka Mala. Now, some of you have given genders also, which is very good. All of you are correct on that. Excellent, really. And I'm really surprised. I didn't ask for the gender, but you have voluntarily you have given gender, which is pretty good because they have an understanding of what verb to use for which gender. This is excellent. Oh, this is a garland. You say this is a garland, not this is one garland, but this is a garland. Even one is correct, but generally in usage you say this is a garland. Idam ekam chakram. So this is a very simple thing really. This is a wheel. Archakaha Ishvaram Archati. The priest is worshipping God. Archana really means worship. But when you do the worship, generally what they also say, recite the names and offer flowers. So that is called typically Archana. But real meaning of Archati is worshipping. Balakaha Phalam Khadati. The boy is eating a fruit.
That's
This
what I
is
mean.
not Shishu. There is a difference between the two. The other thing I wanted to say was there is Ayam, Yam. Now, Ayam is really a very polite way of saying something. It is also, shall I say, kind of intimate. You can also use the word idam. This is equally correct. Now, Yam these are all Vedic words, Yam. When Dasharatha gave away Sita, the very famous sentence in which he says, Yam Sita Mamasuta, Yam Sita, this most intimate Sita, my daughter. Yam Sita Mamasuta, Sakadharma Charitava. May she follow your dharma, follow. Sakadharma Charitava. It's a very famous line from Ramayana. So the Ayam and Niyam is a slightly polite way of saying it, more intimate. And there is also, I mentioned about Bhakshanti, right?
Bhakshati.
Bhaksham, sorry?
Balakaha, appadina it becomes boys, right?
Correct.
Yes, boys.
Okay, because when I wrote it in English, I wrote
Balakaha.
it as Balakaha.
Boys.
Balakaha
Then I
means
said
one. Plural.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the next part of it, which is translated into English. The boy reads the book. Balakaha Pustakam Patati. The girls eat many fruits. I put many within brackets because you have dual and plural. So the verbs are different. That's why I put many. Balikaha Phalani Khadanti. Now somebody has written Khadati, but that is not correct. Khadanti is the correct one.
I put Kalati.
The child looks at the moon. I think somebody has used the word Drishyati,
Yeah, I wrote
right?
Yeah.
No, Drishyati is usually for long distance. There's a bit difference between seeing and looking, right? Here actually, when you say a child, you say
Drishyam.
Balaha Chandram Pashyati. Looks at the moon. It's a kind of a usage, You don't say Drishyati. Drishtam, Adrishtam. Drishtam means what you see. Adrishtam means what you don't see. But that is what is called luck.
Yeah.
Adrishtam. Right?
So when we look at a dictionary, will it tell us the
Pashyati.
usage between the two?
Yeah. Pashyati is something nearby, or in general usage you use Pashyati. But Duradarshan, when you look at a television, you say Darshyati. Okay?
Okay.
He is a kid. Sa balakaha. Saha balakaha. You don't have to say Ayam eka balaha. Ayam is actually not necessary here because Saha means itself he.
Okay. Oh yeah, right.
Saha balakaha. This is a lamp which is already given in the previous lesson. Ayam eka deepaha. It was there in the previous, translate into English. So same sentence, really? Okay, I think you got it. Most of you have done very well, and I'm going to give you at the end of the lesson exercise for you to do for next time, which is also very simple. I'm making it very simple. Now, there is a good deal of grammar involved, as I mentioned before, but I'm not going into too much detail because you will all go away back home. So, the emphasis has always been to learn it the easy way. simple words, so you will be able to appreciate many of the things that we are going to talk about. Okay. Now, I've also given you a summary of all the answers, which you'll find in the PowerPoint presentation. Now, we're going to start. Let me give you a review back again. I'm going to talk about simple pronouns and their usage and interrogatives, basic questions, and also some principles in translation, very simple principles which you need to follow when you are doing the translation in future. And in the process we also learn some new words and some new verses as before. Okay, that's going to be the coverage in today's session. Okay, starting with simple pronouns. First, the masculine gender. He, Saha. You say Saha Srinivasaha, Saha Parthaha, Saha Prakashaha, Yeshaha Srikant. Nearby. There's a difference between Saha and Yesha. So is usually for a little distance away. For somebody who is near, you say Yeshaha. In English, you don't have the difference. I always say he is Srinivas, or he is Rajesh, he is Srikant. It doesn't refer to any distance. But in Sanskrit, the proximity of a person also counts when you are going to address Saha or Eshaha. Yete. Actually, they probably come from Yete. Yete means they. It's a group of people. They all. Yete. Feminine gender. Sa, Nilu. Sa. It becomes Sa. Same time, if supposing she was sitting here, I would say Yesha. Yesha Nilu. Yeshaha becomes Yesha. Saha becomes Sa. And when you say a group of ladies, you say Eta. Eta.
Can we keep them at a distance somehow?
Yeah. Yes. Eta.
Is it etaha or eta?
Eta. Etaha. Etaha. Etaha refers to a group of ladies at a distance. Etaha. Now, neuter gender, singular, you say tat. Tat, phalam. Tat. Etat, phalam. Now, here also the distance counts. If you were to say tat, television, at a distance. Etat phalam. Etat pustakam. Nearby object. Plural. Etani. These subjects which are nearby. All these you can call etani.
Etani chatra.
Yes. Thani refers to distance object. Thani refers to distant object. So you got the hang of it. We are going to use it now in actual words. I have explained to you the masculine, feminine, neuter gender, all the three of them, referring to he, she, it, they. Okay. Now, Prashnavachakaha. Now, in all slides I have given the Sanskrit one and also with transliteration, so that if you have any problem in reading Devanagari script, you can follow the English ones. It may apply for Deepan. If you are finding it difficult, you have an English transliteration available. So you can easily follow that side by side. You can improve your reading the Sanskrit. So here, questions. Who? Kaha saha? Who is he? When it is two, you say cow.
Cow.
Cow. You remember, I don't know whether any of you remember when we read Purusha Suktam? Mukha kimasya kaubahu vakam kavuru pade uchete. Remember? Mukam kimasya kaubahu. There are two arms. Cow. K refers to plural. All come kaha, cow, k. All refers to masculine gender. When it refers to feminine gender, you simply add a, ka, ke, kaha. Neutral gender, kim, ke, kani. And then versus to objects, kutra. And when you want to say from where, you say kutaha. All start with K. And very simple because you cannot forget K. Just remember K. It means a question is coming up. Kaha kauke, ka ke kaha, kim ke kani, kutra kutaha. These are basic questions. And when we start using them, you will find it very easy. Let's say you go to the next slide. I'm going to ask Saha kaha, Yeshaha kaha, Yeshaha Srikantaha, Saka, Saka Sa Niluhu, Saka Sa Vidyaha, Saka Sujata, Sahaka Saha Ramaha, Saha Ramaha, or if it is nearby, Yesha Ramaha, he is Rama. Saka you use for distance object. Yesha ka, Yesha ka, Yesha Niluhu, nearby. Who is she? Sa Sita. Yesha Sita. Tat kim, Tat kim,
What is
Tat Phalam. Tat Phalam. Tat kim, Tat Pustakam. So, you have simple questions and simple answer. So, when you say Sakaha, who is he? In the answer, Saha, so and so. Right? Go to the next question. Pustakam kutra asti. What does it mean?
You want to read where is the book?
Pustakam kutra asti. Where is the book? Now, what is the answer to that?
Pustakam atra asti.
You have it on the slide. Pustakam atra asti. Pustakam atra nasti. Pustakam asta nasti. If you add na, remember no means no. Right? You have na in Sanskrit. So when you say nasti, it means it is not there. Very simple. Pustakam atra nasti. Pustakam tatra asti. The book is there. Tatra asti. Vayuhu sarvatra asti. Yeah, is everywhere. Vayuhu sarvatra asti. Sarvam means everywhere. Sarvatra. Again, atra is added to sarva. Sarva is a general word, root, which means every. Everywhere is sarvatra. Mama vahanaha anyatra asti. My car or my vahanam, my vehicle is elsewhere. Anya. Anya means somewhere, somebody different, someone different. So it is somewhere else. So now you have learnt kutra asti means where is it? Atra asti means here it is. Nasti, atra nasti means it is not there. Tatra asti. The book is there. Sarvatra asti. Everywhere. Anyatra asti. It is elsewhere. So from kutra you have learned so many words. Here, there, all over, everywhere and elsewhere. Okay. Very simple. You don't have to really worry too much about it. Okay. Kutaha is from where. Phalam patati. What does it mean?
Falling.
Phalam means fruit is falling. Phalam vrikshataha patati. What does it mean?
Falling from
Is
the
falling
From the tree. Vriksham means tree. Phalam kutaha patati.
Where is the fruit falling?
Phalaha vrikshataha patati.
From where is the fruit falling?
Falling. Exactly. Phalam kutaha patati. Where is the fruit falling from? From where? Kutaha means from where. Phalam kutaha patati. Phalam vrikshataha patati. It's fairly simple. When you apply this kutaha in different words, then you know how it is used. Alright? Very simple. There is also a word called api, which means also. Atra pustakam asti. Atra lekani asti. Lekani means the pen. Atra lekani asti. Atra pustakam asti. Api lekani api asti. The book is there and the pen is also there. Api is also. That is a kind of like you have a connecting word. Atra pustakam lekani api asti. So you have the book and also a pen. Now I am going to start using the verbs in different contexts. Piba is the root, dhatu, which I explained in the previous lesson. Dhatu means the root. Piba is to drink. Vakya prayogaha. What does it mean?
usage of words.
Usage in sentence. Vakya prayogaha. Kaha pipati?
Who is drinking?
Kaha pipati?
Who is drinking?
Kaha means what? Who? Correct? Earlier I told you kaha means who. Saha kaha? Saha srikantaha. Right? Kaha means who. Kaha pipati means who is drinking. Not scotch, but you're drinking water. Who is drinking? Aham pibami. When you use it for yourself, I put the last letters in red so that you remember that. Me is me. Aham pibami. Aham vadami. Aham charami. Aham gacchami. Me. All refers to me. Okay. Aham pibami. Singular. Tvam pibasi. You are drinking. Tvam pibasi. Tvam is referring to another person, you. Saha pibati. Saha means what? He. Saha pibati. Sa pibati.
She is drinking.
Sa pibati refers to
She.
she is drinking. Now sa and sa, he and she. So very simple actually. The verb has been used in the context of I, you, he and she. Correct? In all the words, the root word is piba. In all verbs, the root is important and your adjective add it on to the last one verb depending on what is the gender of the person and whether it is present tense or past tense or future tense. So let's not go to the tenses right now because I want to just confine myself to present tense right now. Okay. Vakya prayoga, another example. Kaha pashyatu.
Who is seeing?
What does it mean?
Who
Who is
is
seeing? Sarvaha pashyatu. Everybody is
All
looking.
seeing.
All are seeing. Sarvaha pashyatu. Now pashya here is the word. Sarvaha kim pashyatu.
What is everybody seeing?
What do they see? Sarvaha bhadrani pashyatu. Sarvaha bhadrani pashyatu. All are seeing auspicious things. Bhadrani pashyantu. In Vedam you will get that. Huh?
Isn't it?
All are seeing auspicious thing. It's also referred to prosperity. All are seeing prosperous things. Both means, Bhadram itself means very safe, right? We say Bhadrama Poitva. So Bhadram itself means something safe.
Isn't it sarva kim pashyatah?
No. Kam pashyatu. Kani pasyantah. Okay, simple conversation. Mama nama Subramanian. Mama nama Subramanian. Bhavataha nama kim? Bhavataha nama kim?
Mama namah Shrikantah.
Correct.
Mama.
Bhavataha nama kim?
Mama namah.
Mama nama
Mama Nama
Deepan. Bhava nama Bhavataha nama kim? Bhavataha nama kim?
Oh, Mama Nama Kumareshah.
Correct. Correct.
Kumaresh.
Correct.
Kumaresh.
Bhavatyaha nama kim? Bhavatyaha.
Mama nama Neelu.
Right. Bhavatyaha nama kim?
Mama Nama Vidya.
Yeah. So difference is Bhavataha, Bhavatya. Bhavataha refers to masculine gender. Bhavatyaha refers to feminine gender. When you say I want to know the name of a lady, you say Bhavatyaha. When you ask a boy or a man, you say Bhavataha. Yetat kim?
Etat phalam.
Tat phalam.
Yetat kim?
Etat
Tat pustakam. So these are very simple words, simple conversation which you can apply anytime. Okay? Keep asking when you go home, Bhavatyaha nama kim to Vishali. Okay, now adjectives. And we all know adjective means describing something. Noun to which you add a description. Like Neelaha Akashaha. What does it mean?
Sky is blue.
Blue sky. If you say just sky, it doesn't describe it enough. But when you say blue sky, you look up. It's very nice. No clouds, blue sky, beautiful. At the same time, when you look at the cloud, you say cloud is a noun. If it's a white cloud, what do you say? Swetaha Megaha. Swetaha Ashwagha. What does it mean?
White horse.
White horse, correct. Krishnaha means what?
Black.
Correct. Krishnaha Ashwaha means
Black.
black horse. Sundara Purushaha.
Beautiful.
handsome man. Sundaraha. Now when you want to address a dear friend, you say Priya Mitraha. Mitraha itself means friend. But when you say want to add the adjective, you say Priya Mitraha. But here the difference between Sanskrit and English is the adjective follows the gender and number of the word. You can say he is beautiful, she is beautiful. The gender doesn't matter. The cloud is black, the cloud is white. You know, it doesn't matter. The bag is black, the cloud is black, it doesn't matter. She is black, he is white, it doesn't matter. But here, the gender and number of the word follows the noun, the gender. Which you have got to be very careful when you use an adjective to make sure that it follows the gender. That's why I said you know the gender only from the dictionary, because it is very confusing in Sanskrit. It is very difficult to find out the gender unless you are afforded a dictionary. But by usage you will know it. Okay, I am going to now give you some very broad principles of translation. The first one, when you are translating from Sanskrit to English, you must find the case and the number of each noun. When you say whether it is masculine or feminine, how to find out? Generally, the rule is like this: masculine nouns may end in a, e, u, or r. Like as in Deva, Muni, Pashu, Pitru, Go, Rajan. Now you see, Deva ending in A, Muni ending in E, Pashu ending in U, Pitru ending in R. So masculine nouns may end in this. Now the typical template used for masculine nouns is Rama. The Rama Shabdam which is used, it gives you the singular, dual and plural under various conditions of sentences which you need to use. Likewise, for feminine nouns, you have ending in A. The other day I mentioned about the name, right? Vidya, Sujata, Saraswati, Lakshmi. It ends in either A or E mostly. You'll find it, you check even English names also it is like that.
No, by going
You'll
from
find
male
this
to
A
male,
and E.
you went from female to male.
Vishali.
Actually, my name is Neelavati.
So this may end in A, E, E, U, U or R. Like Katha. Katha is A, it's feminine. Gati, feminine again. Nadi, E, feminine. Denu, Kamadenu, you know. Denu, U, feminine. So, yeah,
Go is cow, right?
yes.
Cow is masculine.
But cow is masculine.
Same Pashu.
Now, Pashu is animal, right?
Pashu,
Pashu is animal in general, right?
right.
Go is specifically to a cow, but it refers to a bull or a cow.
It depends on which context you are using it.
But it's masculine.
Yes.
Okay.
Neutral nouns may end in A, E, U or Ru, like Fal, Vari. Vari means water. Madhu, Kartha. So you have different noun endings. Now I want to show you one typical Shabdam in Rama. Likewise you have all Shabdams in masculine. It use Rama as a template here. It Akarantaha. Akarantaha means ending in A. Pullingaha, masculine. Rama Shabdaha. You say Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, which means Rama means single. Ramo means two. Cow. We mentioned earlier. Ramaha means plural. There are many Ramas. So for each particular case, Ramam, Ramo, Raman. Now Ramam becomes the object here. In the first case, Ramaha is subject. In the second case, it becomes an object. So likewise, you have different cases for different contexts. So you have to use the right kind of noun cases depending upon the context. But don't worry too much about it because it has how many? 8 into 3, 24 verbs, 24 cases. You will find the same thing in others also. And in fact, you may have one full book full of this only. So if you start worrying about that one, you may not be able to learn very fast. So just know that there are different ways of expressing a noun depending upon whether it is a singular, dual or plural or in which context it is being used. Now the only in some present tense you have past tense also and future tense also. Okay. Now I have also given you one example of feminine noun case conjugation. Latha. Latha means a creeper. It's also the name of some girls, isn't it? Latha. Latha really refers to a creeper. It is a feminine gender. It is akarantaha. It is ending in a. Therefore you have latha, akaranta strilingaha. And it is lata, late, lataha. Latam, late, lataha. That is how the conjugation goes. Now, you don't have to worry too much about this conjugation, but I am just giving you as an example that in each case, depending on whether it is masculine or feminine or neutral, the conjugation will be different. Okay. In fact, Bhandarkar's grammar book, there are 2 grammar books full of only conjugations. You'll read that, you'll go crazy. Okay. Having said that first principle, now second principle. The first case when you say you place the noun before the verb in English. Like when you say I want to translate Ramaha Gacchati, you say Rama is going. You say Rama is going. The noun is placed before the verb. Okay, that's a principle. When you say second case, like for example, Bala Pustakam Patati, you place the noun after the verb. The girl is reading the book. That is how you translate from Sanskrit to English. The girl is reading the book. The noun comes after the verb. Reading is the verb here and the noun is the book, which is the object. Okay. In other cases, the nouns of the sentence will end along as appropriate for the case. If you take a third case, for example, Mala Pushpai Bhavati. Mala means garland. Is made using flowers. So the third case is actually asking the question by or with or what. With what is the garland made? Garland is made using the flowers. So the flowers come at the end. Take seventh case. It describes where. Gajaha aranye sancharanti. Means elephants roam in the forest. Where? Where do they roam?
Forest.
They roam in the forest. Therefore, forest becomes the last word. So in each case, the ending will be appropriate to the particular case and the question. Okay, these are only some stray examples I'm giving you. And lastly, when you have a word or sentence, translate all the words closest to their English meanings. Like a child or Sishuhu. Shishuhu means a baby. Balakaha is a boy. Balika is a girl nearest meanings. There can be multiple meanings for the same one, but use one what you think is the closest. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule really. Okay, I want to now tell you something about one of these most important Vedangams. The first lesson I mentioned to you, there are 6 Vedangams, right? 4 Vedams and 6 Vedangas. And one of them was Niruktam. You remember that? Niruktam, I mentioned in the first lesson. Now it is Veda Angas. Angas means they are parts of the Veda's body. And this is considered to be, Niruktam is considered to be the ears, Karnam. It's so important that whatever you hear has to be the right one, and therefore Niruktam is called the Veda's ears, Vedangam. Now this is the dictionary and thesaurus for the Vedas. Now it is such a beautiful one. You know, you have at home English dictionary. There is also the Roget's thesaurus, which gives you the synonyms. If you have one word, it will give you multiple words with having almost nearest meaning. Have you seen it, Vidya? You have, right? Now there are many words which can describe a particular thing. Now this Niruktam describes that. So it is thousands of years old. We don't know how it happened, but there was one Muni called Yaskara who really composed and compiled this Niruktam. Very well known. And what he composed is called Nigantu. Nigantu. That is the name of the thesaurus compiled by Yaskara Muni. Now it deals with etymological interpretations, describes why is something called what it is called. If you say Agni, why is it called Agni? If you say Suryaha, why is it called Suryaha? If you say Manushaha, why is it called Manushaha? It goes into explanations, starting from the basic root. And I mentioned, remember the first time, the names mean something in Sanskrit. They describe a quality or an attribute. Like Shivaha, it's auspiciousness. Krishnaha means black, one who is black. How do you distinguish? There will be some other description. So you have to find out. Now this interpretation is all discussed in Niruktam. There is a beautiful book, in fact, some 600, 700 pages, I've got it in my computer. But it's all completely in Sanskrit. Now, for example, Hridayam, if you say, Hridayam is Hrid and Ayam. What is Hridayam? Means heart. But actually it means Hrid is God. Ayam means inside. It means God is inside Hridayam. Like Hora. You see Panchangam, there is Hora Sastram. The people who are looking for proper time will look at what is called Horai. Some of you may know. In Panchangams and Almanacs, there is called Horai. That Hora refers to the measure of time. In fact, the word hour has come from Hora. 1 hour has got Rendra Naligai. In Tamil they say Naligai. Rendra Naligai. They'll specify a day has got 60 Naligais. And 1 hour has got 2.5 hours. That is a Hora. So these are all the words which are explained in detail in Niruktam. Okay. You've got to build up your own vocabulary, and every class I'm going to teach you some words which you keep on remembering, and then you will build up your vocabulary that way. You know, Vivek, for example, he has learned so many words, vocabulary. I was surprised, amazed to see his vocabulary, so beautifully built. He doesn't know how to read and write, but he has got a beautiful vocabulary, only by listening, hearing. The same principle I want to apply to you. So you don't have to go and read a big book, but every time you listen to it, you will learn a word. Swagatam, you know already. Namaskaraha is salutations. Dhanyavadaha, thank you. These are simple words. Priyavachanam, Madhuravachanam. Priyavachanam means very pleasant words. Some people have the word Priya, name as Priya, means pleasant, pleasing. That's what it means. Priya Vachanam means pleasant words. Madhura Vachanam means, Madhura means sweet. Madhura Vachanam, sweet words. Uttamam. Uttamam means excellent. You know, there is a very, I am reminded of an incident in Chennai long ago, and the local powers that be decided to change the names of streets because they didn't want any North Indian names, Aryan language, remove all these Sanskrit things and make it into pure Tamil. So they saw the Nungambakam High Road was named Mahatma Gandhi Road. Mahatma Gandhi is well known, but somebody said Mahatma is not Tamil word. It is a North Indian, definitely a North Indian word, so we have to change it. So they went about and looked at the dictionaries and came out with the word in Tamil called Uttamar. So they painted the whole place everywhere Uttamar Gandhi Shalai. And it was there for some time until somebody wrote in the media that Uttamar is derived from the word Uttam, which is a Sanskrit word. That's okay, let's go back to Mahatma, it's better. So Uttamam is a Sanskrit word. Shobhanam. Some people have name as Shobhana. Shobhanam means beautiful. Vijayi Bhava. Some people have names as Vijaya. Vijayi Bhava means be victorious. So every time you will build some words into your vocabulary and thereby you will increase your own knowledge of Sanskrit. So now I'm going to learn one verse which is composed by Adi Shankaracharya. The reason why I chose this verse is the word Kim comes here at least 4 times. So that is the reason. It is also the favorite of my dear wife who teaches music. Shariram Swarupam Tatava Kalatram
Shariram Swarupam Tatava Kalatram
Yasascharu Chitram Dhanam Merutulyam
Yasascharu Chitram Dhanam Merutulyam
Manaschena Lagnam Gurorangri Padme
Manaschena Lagnam Gurorangri Padme
Tatakim 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 Tatakim.
Tatakim 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 Tatakim.
Now what it means, Shariram Swarupam. What is Shariram?
Body.
Swarupam means very good looking, handsome man. Shariram Swarum. Tatava Kalatram. Kalatram I told you before. What is Kalatram? I mentioned about the
Kalatra
masculine,
dosham.
feminine.
Kalatra dosham. Kalatra dosham.
Kalatram means wife. But it is in neuter gender. Okay. In previous class I mentioned about wife Bharyaha, and I gave 3 words, masculine, feminine and neuter. Kalatram means wife. Tatava Kalatram means wife is also very beautiful. Okay. SS Charu Chitram. Charumati, some people have Charumati name. Charu means also beautiful. But in a different sense here, it is referring to the fame. SS Charu Chitram is somebody who is who is esteemed and he is very famous. SS Charu Chitram. Dhanam Meru Tulyam. Meru means what? Meru is mountain. Dhanam means wealth. Wealth is like Meru. Billionaire, sort of, right? Manaschena Lagnam Guror Angri Padme. Guror Angri Padme. Angri means really lotus. Padme. Padme means lotus. Angri means the feet. Guror Angri Padme, lotus feet of the Guru. Manaschena Lagnam. If my mind is not focused or set on the lotus feet of my Guru, Tatakim, 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 then what? Then what? Then what? Peter Ford said, what is the use of it? What is the use of all these if your mind is not set on your Guru? That is why we always start with Guru Vandanam. So Guru has got so much of importance given in our tradition and our culture. So this is Guru Ashtakam, which is 8 verses. And this is the very first verse compiled by Adi Shankaracharya. He has done a beautiful work. I thought this may be relevant because we taught about Kim today. So, Tata Kim, 4 times. So, going to the next verse, which is what is called Subhashitam. Subhashitam means what? Bhasha means what?
Language.
Good language.
Bhashitam means Subhashitam.
Good language.
Good language.
Good spoken words.
Well spoken.
Subhashitam, well spoken. These are verses. Bhashitam is actually a noun. Verses which are sweet. Subhashitam. So I am going to give you one verse. Maybe in each class we will give one verse which gives you some kind of a idea about how it is constructed, and it also gives you some meaning to it. Na abhisheko na samskaraha simmasya kriye vane. What is simam?
Lion.
Lion. Vane means
Forest.
in the forest. Kriye means
Duties.
kriye means doing.
Doing.
Yeah.
Kriya.
Na abhisheko. You know, in our custom, when there is a coronation, you make a prince a king or somebody, you do abhishekam. That is actually coronation. Rama abhishekam you say, right? He is crowned as a king. Na abhisheko, na samskaraha.
No rules.
Na samskaraha. Na samskaraha means
No rules
No.
or no rituals.
Samskritam means what?
Well spoken.
Well done.
Well done.
Samskaraha
That which
means
should be
well
done well.
executed.
what ought to be done well.
Should be done well.
No, that is usually rituals, referring to rituals. There is no coronation or rituals for a lion to be declared a king in the forest. Lion is known as a king in the forest. But there is no coronation, no abhishekam, and no rituals for a lion. Vikrama arjita sattvasya swayameva brigendrata. Vikrama. Vikramadityan, you know. Vikram means what? There is an actor called Vikram in Tamil movies, right?
Victorious.
What does Vikram means?
Victory. Victorious.
Vikram means very brave,
Brave.
courageous. Courageous. Vikrama arjita sattvasya by my own might and heroism. Swayameva, Swayam means
By
by
itself.
itself. Swayameva, Brigendrata, Briga Indrata. Indran
King
means
Lord
of
of
the
the
Lord of
Briga
the
Indrata. The lion is a king by its own might and heroism. It can go and kill anybody. It is so heroic. You see, this is a Subhashitam which says a lion doesn't have to be really made a king by rituals or by placing a crown on it. It becomes a king by its own might and heroism. Some men also become like that. You don't have to really go and then say he is so and so, but they themselves achieve fame and become big. Okay? So, you will find in every Subhashitam, the words are so chosen well and it is beautiful. You will enjoy it. And there is also a moral behind the whole thing. So, at this point, we will start with the verse. I am going to start the exercise for your next class, which is again very simple. I have given it both in Sanskrit as well as in English. So, if you are finding it difficult to read it, you can go and follow this. Aham Sanskritam vadami kakaha falani kadati sukam dukkham jayati simmaha kutre vasanti bhavataha nama kim. Very easy ones. And the second part of it I given in a separate slide. Translate into Sanskrit. People live. There is only 2 words. I see the moon. Elephants live in the forest. Where is your home? Air is everywhere. If you followed the lesson, you should be able to answer all. It's very simple. I know that. So I think we'll stop at this point. Thank you all very much. Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam.
Govinda, Govinda.